are times in life we can feel overwhelmed, like the pressure's too much. We go through a loss, we're dealing with an illness, or we're not being treated right. A lady told me how things had come against her at work and looked like she was going to lose her position. She said, I can't take it anymore. The worry, the stress, the demands, it's too much to handle. She felt like she was going to collapse under that weight, like it was unbearable. But Paul said in 1 Corinthians, God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted with more than you can bear. But with the temptation will make a way of escape so you can bear it. Paul was saying, God will not let you face more pressure than you can handle. He won't let more weight come on you that you don't have the strength to bear. When an architect designs a building, a big skyscraper, he doesn't just design the outside, what it's going to look like, the color, the size, the shape. That's important, but it's of no use if he doesn't design the inner structure. He calculates all the loads, how much each floor will weigh, how much wind it will face, how much equipment will be on it. Then he'll know how big the steel beams should be, how deep the piers in the ground, how thick the foundation. In California, where they can have earthquakes, you have to put special reinforcements in the framing, more than we do here. In Florida, the glass has to withstand hurricane force winds. I was at a hotel in Colorado during the summer. I noticed on the sloped roof all these cables and wires. I didn't know what it was. I asked the man. He said those are heaters to melt the snow. He explained that if you don't keep the snow off, it can pile up and that weight can cause the roof to collapse. The architect specifically designs each structure so it can withstand the pressure, so it can bear the weight. The good news is your architect is the Most High God. He not only designed solar systems and mountain ranges, but He designed you. When He laid out the plan for your life, He calculated everything you would face. All the pressure, all the weight, all the winds. He took into account every hurt, every loss, every injustice, every mistake, and He designed your beams big enough, your foundation thick enough. He put in you the determination, the courage, the stamina that no matter what comes against you, it will not be too much to bear. You've been designed to withstand the storms, designed to outlast the opposition, designed to endure until the dream comes to pass. God wouldn't be just if He knew we were going to face 120-mile-an-hour winds, but He only designed us for 80-mile-an-hour winds. That wouldn't even pass code. You couldn't get that design through city planning. How much more has God put in you exactly what you need? You may not be able to see it, but your walls are strong enough. Your foundation is deep enough. You can bear whatever comes your way. God didn't miscalculate when He designed you. He didn't forget about what environment you'd be in, what conditions you would face. He didn't accidentally leave out a beam. Now you can't handle the weight. Nothing you face will cause you to collapse under the weight. Now, thoughts may tell you it's too much, you can't handle it. You need to remind yourself, I've been designed to withstand. I have what it takes. I am determined enough. I'm strong enough. I'm bold enough. I am well able. Now, an architect doesn't wait till the pressure comes to see what kind of beams to put in. He doesn't wait till the middle of the storm to check the force of the winds, to see how much resistance, to decide what kind of structure to build. It's all calculated ahead of time. It's designed before one concrete truck shows up, before one hammer is lifted. The specs are studied, calculated, and approved before construction ever begins. In the same way, before you were formed in your mother's womb, your specs were carefully designed. Everything was strategically and precisely put in you for what you're going to need. When you face big challenges, that means you have big beams. You have strong infrastructure. You don't really know what's in you until you get some weight on you. You don't know what you can handle until the pressure comes. And when something happens that we've never faced, a loss, a disappointment, a setback, it's easy to think, I can't handle this. It's going to sink me. The truth is, you wouldn't be facing it unless you could handle it. If it was too much to bear, God wouldn't have allowed it. The very fact that it happened is a sign that you are well able. Now, you may have never put that kind of pressure on your beams. The glass walls of your building, so to speak, may have never experienced wind so strong. That's why you're tempted to feel overwhelmed. You don't realize the structure has been designed for that pressure. It wasn't a surprise to your architect. He knew ahead of time. That's why he made the glass so strong. He took into account winds that you never knew you would encounter. Nothing you face will cause you to collapse. You've been designed to withstand. Now, you can collapse in your mind. In your thinking, you can give in and think, oh, this is too much. I'm overwhelmed. I can't handle it. That's why the scripture tells us, don't faint in your mind. Your structure is strong enough. Now get your mind strong enough. Quit telling yourself it's too big. It's been this way too long. I can't take it anymore. You are well able. No weapon formed against you is going to prosper. That difficulty didn't come to stay. It came to pass. But to say we can't handle it is to say when God designed me, He miscalculated. He didn't make my foundation deep enough. He left out a beam. I can't carry this weight. God doesn't make mistakes. The psalmist said, you have been fearfully and wonderfully made. It's not just talking about the outside, our looks, our size, our talents. That's talking about your specs as well, your infrastructure, how God designed things that you can't see, how He planned ahead of time for challenges and obstacles, things you would think would cause you to collapse, but out of nowhere, strength rises up. A courage comes, a faith to overcome, a determination to stand strong and outlast the opposition. When we acquired this building, it didn't have any rooms for children's and youth facilities. It's a big sports arena. We needed some classrooms, so we built a 5-story building on the end that connects through the lobbies. It's our family life center. We told the architects, one day we're going to want to add 5 more stories. We're going to need to expand. So they designed the foundation, the piers, the underground to accommodate 10 stories. But when you see the building, what you see is a 5-story building. Unless you have the plans, unless you have the specs, you don't realize it's designed for 10 stories. People driving down the freeway think the building's finished. It's peaked. That's as tall as it will ever be. They don't know what's underground. What enables it to go higher is the weight that the beams can handle, the thickness of the foundation. In the same way, you may think you've reached your limits. You've been at that same level a long time. Can I encourage you? You have more floors in you. You've handled this much pressure fine. You've gotten comfortable carrying this much weight. It's no problem. But if you could look at your specs, if you could see the plans God has for you, you would notice your beams are much bigger than what you're carrying right now. You could think God over-designed you. He put things in you that you don't need. No, it's coming. God has new levels. And with that increase comes more weight. You're going to have more pressure. Now, I don't mean pressure in a bad sense. This is pressure that makes you stretch, makes you grow, makes you release your faith, believe bigger, take on new challenges. Not just difficulties, but positive pressure, where you discover you can handle things that you never thought you could handle. For 17 years, I worked behind the scenes here at Lakewood doing the television production. In 1999, when my father went to be with the Lord, I knew I was supposed to step up and pastor the church, but I didn't know how it was going to work out. I had never faced that much pressure. Not only having to get up in front of people, thoughts telling me I wasn't qualified, nobody was going to listen, but losing my father was very traumatic. I had worked with him every day for years. We had traveled the world together, and now he was gone. I should have been overwhelmed. The pressure should have caused me to shrink back and be discouraged. But in the midst of that turmoil, I felt a strength that I had never felt. A determination, a resilience, a confidence that didn't make sense to my mind. When I stepped up to minister, yes, I was nervous, I was afraid, but down deep, I believed I could do it. I believed I had what it takes. There was a boldness that I had never experienced. I realize now that wasn't just me being strong. I had been designed for this. I was designed to withstand the pressure. I was designed to overcome the loss. I discovered my beams were big enough. My foundation was strong enough that this didn't catch God off guard. What am I saying? You've been designed for everything you're going to face. When you come into things that seem too hard, too big, too unfair, things that should cause you to collapse, don't worry. God knew they were coming. He already made your beams big enough. You will be able to bear it.